Every anime season, you have your massive hits that everyone flocks to, such as your Oshis, your Demon Slayers, but sometimes even your Bochis. Bocchi the Rock was a special case where in an anime that genuinely deserved to be at the top, made it to the top, but by and large, most shows that air in a season never get that chance they deserve despite how great they truly are, but I want to be this guy. So say hello to the dangers in my heart, because I know I did. Also known as Boku Yaba Nihongo wa Karimasen. It's most well known as Anime of the Year, as it does everything correctly and is excellent as both a rom-com and an adaptation. Despite being simplistic on the surface, it takes great care to craft its characters and settings, and in general feels so well polished and amazing, despite not actually being about much more than this dude realizing he has a thing for fat chicks. As said, part of what makes it so good is how well it's produced from an adaptation standpoint, and that's primarily because of how well the staff intrinsically understands the source material, even going so far as to make simple things like playing the title card at key moments into something next level that gets you emotional every time they do it, except my tears come from my penis. Unlike Skip and Loafer this season, which has a serviceable adaptation and is largely carried by its source material, Danger Heart is a unity between the staff and the original material, much in the same way as Bocchi, just without Bocchi's special sauce. Like that show, the anime is built upon what the manga gave it, but rather than adding completely new things like Bocchi did, this anime instead opts to just enhance every scene with both great voice work and an excellent soundtrack. I'm fucking stroking my shit right now. But also fantastic directing and lighting decisions, wherein they take this scene and turn it into this to make it all the more memorable in your mind, but also make it extremely impactful in the moment, even when in reality, he was just trying to hide her snacks because she eats more than the average American. God damn, you can hear the ground shake when she walks, literally. I didn't care anymore! While the adaptation may be fantastic, what really sells it is the writing itself, and that's owed to both the author of the manga, Sakurai Norio, and the scriptwriter for the anime, Hanada Juki, who takes Norio's phenomenal work and puts it to animation, and it's Norio's penmanship that separates this from most rom-coms to begin with, as typical rom-coms will either forget about the comedy halfway through when things get serious, or they forget about the romance until the very end, but Danger Heart is the exception to the rule, as it never misses a beat in the comedic segments and is filled with subtle fat jokes, masturbation jokes, and so much more. I would drown her in a bowl of my... Yet it likewise treats the more serious moments with the respect they deserve, whilst also still acknowledging the characters' ages and the ways they act at all times, and on top of that, the series is great at giving you a sense of progression for their relationship as well. Rather than the two leads starting out liking each other, or liking one another for superficial reasons, the main character starts out vehemently denying that he could ever like the popular girl, and instead deludes himself into thinking he actually wants to kill her through his Chunibyo delusions, which is adorable, and this is because he knows that he has a naturally obsessive nature, and this doesn't want to admit to the things that he likes in fear of getting hurt or rejected. I want to care for his mom like a small animal, but I want to impregnate her mother. Meanwhile, Yamada sees him as just another student in her class, of whom can throw away her trash, but through his intentional yet also accidental antics, she starts to see him as more of a person, and you can visually see the moment she starts to develop feelings for him. From there, it grows with each passing episode, and the fact that it stems from not only Ishikawa's general niceties and thoughtful gestures, but also her likening him to her favorite shoujo manga protagonist, thus meaning he has to be the one because he's just like her favorite anime boy. One day I'll find mine. Goes to show that the characters are the ages they are and are in the setting they're in because it helps to illustrate key points like this in the story, rather than just being part of the author's weird fetish. Though they also made this show, so who knows. Thinking the way they do is extremely similar to how people that age actually think, and that in combination with the more realistic jokes and dialogue from the other characters that still maintain an anime feel for entertainment and familiarity is what helps to make the interactions between the characters and leads feel as natural as they do. Like the endearingly and realistically hormonal-filled awkward ooting in episode 10 that other rom-coms just get wrong by comparison, as it's not rife with the typical shallow reasons such as, well, he's the main character, so sucking his dick is part of the contract. Yeah, no, I signed that too. Yeah, I thought he was small. But rather, it's filled with moments that make the characters feel real and appropriate for their setting, while also still managing to be amusing, and these are littered throughout the show, like Yamada crying from something as simple as getting separated and missing the train, Ishikawa not wanting to be caught with his mother at school, and this guy for talking about wanting to stroke his dick all the time. This is my self-insert. It's those small, subtle things, like Yamada exclusively sitting on her own desk in the first few episodes, to then sitting on Ichikawa's desk later on, not being perturbed that his face is quite literally next to her legs. God damn, you can fucking crush my head with them things. To show that she's comfortable with being that close to him and matching establishing their current relationship that tie everything together and make you feel like things are naturally happening, which is exactly what a story like this should do, on top of being extra horny. Fucking Christ, her tits are massive. It's the subtlety and consistency in which it does this that makes it so funny, and it's the fact that, at the drop of a hat, it can immediately sidestep into being completely serious and start developing their relationship, and that's what makes the anime as good as it is, on top of expertly showing and not telling things like how Yamada was just as worried about the Uding as he was, giving him her scarf to keep his eyes off the ground and on her to show how much she pays attention to him, as we never explicitly hear her thoughts but rather just his, and the general way that the show is able to both perfectly intermix the fact that yes, they are horny teenagers, get a boner in your trash, but at the same time show that finding and being with someone you genuinely enjoy being around, as Snafu once described, can make even the smaller things more fun than usual, as they're a person you'd never want to lose. And if Snafu is the more cynical look into how society and others label love, but don't genuinely mean it, then this is a look into what a genuine relationship actually looks like, and it's one that never forgets it's still telling a story about two dumb teenagers. Come!